I'm going to go through a little primer about lighting and what kind of bulbs you want to use. Now, if you're talking 12 volt for a dollhouse, you're usually talking about hard wiring, which is houses that are plugged in and you get your light basically from plugging it in. That would be 12 volt. And with 12 volt, it's nice too because usually the bulbs can be switched out. They're incandescent on the most part. Some LEDs, I don't know if you can do that. I prefer incandescent to LED just because the quality of the light is better. But let me show you a few different examples. So these are some 12 volt bulbs. These are super, super versatile. And you can use these to replace any of the bulbs of your 12 volt light fixtures that you buy. They don't need to be positive or negative. You can just put any wire on either side. It doesn't really matter, just as long as power goes through it. And these, like these, for example, you just cut the wires down a little bit, and then there's two little copper lined holes that you would put these in, little socket, and these will work perfectly fine for your dollhouse. They're very tiny little incandescent bulbs, and you can get these on Amazon by the hundreds. Look how many I got. And you will pay a lot more than that when you're going through miniature sites. So you don't need to pay too much for something that works fine with what you have. So Amazon for these 12 volt incandescent bulbs. Now you can get incandescent 3 volt, which is battery powered. These, I don't know if it's open yet. These are incandescent bulbs. Let's see if I can get it to focus. There you go. They look like little Christmas lights, like teeny tiny Christmas lights. And these work fine. They're 3 volt, so they will work with battery power. And I don't think I've used these yet. I got them, but I don't, oh no, I did use them once. So yeah, here you go. You can see these work great with battery power. And now these are LED 3 volt. Now, LEDs can vary in size, and they are very much tied to the positive and negative system. So you have to put the red wire on a positive flow and the black wire, or whichever way it is. I don't remember. I would test it out first. But yeah, some of these are, and if you'll notice, they have a little diode, a little resistor, which is kind of shrunk into the shrink tubing here. And they work wonderfully. I'm not going to unpack them, I don't think. Well, no, because it looks like the bottoms are. So yeah, so these are 3 volts. You can get those on Amazon. These are also 3 volt, much tinier. But as you can see, they still have the resistors attached to the red wire, it looks like. And then that's the little light diode. You can use those for candles and whatnot. I'm not a huge fan because the light tends to be kind of blue. And even if it's warm white, it has a touch of green in it. So, because they add yellow, and blue and yellow make green. So, yeah. All right, that's more 3 volt. Now, look at these babies. I ordered these without realizing how tiny they were. I want you to see. Can you spot the LED in here? Look how tiny these are. They are like tiny, tiny poppy seed sized. And again, they come with the resistors, but the resistors are not attached. And good luck getting them attached. And good luck putting that in there without the wires touching and messing up the circuit, because this is bare copper. And the wires can't touch, otherwise it won't work. So, and soldering on this little filament gets hot so fast it'll actually come off of the LED if you're not quick enough. So I don't recommend these unless you really know what you're doing, and you know how to put them on a circuit without screwing them up. But yeah, look at these little hair thin copper filaments. Crazy. So those are 3 volt too. Battery packs. So 12 volt is when you plug it in the wall, and you would have the wires coming out of the side of your dollhouse, and then you would probably try and solder them onto a circuit, which is what I usually do. And I make a circuit using copper tape because it's just easier to have. It might corrode quickly or quicker than a wire, but it's easier to access if you need to switch out wires or add new ones and whatnot. So I'm going to show you quickly how to do a solder on this and, you know, attach something permanently on your circuit. Now, usually my dollhouses, what I do is I will either do it under the house or I will do it under the siding of the house. In the case of Huxley House, it's on the back of the house because it's a wall-hanging dollhouse, so it doesn't really matter if it shows or not. But I usually do one tape per circuit. So circuit is basically like if you wanted a room to switch to have all power to one room, this would be the circuit for that one room. So each room would have two of its own little pieces of copper tape. You can use other things besides copper tape. I use copper tape. This is how I roll. So you have your copper tape. One would be positive, one would be negative, and that's only relevant if you're using LED, because the 12-volt incandescent lights doesn't matter. You can just put the wires on whatever side. It doesn't matter if there's a positive or negative. But LEDs, it is definitely important. So you got to test it to make sure you know which one is the positive and which one is the negative. This is my testing box. I use this to make sure that things are working, and I have a special little power supply with a little jack that I can just plug these into, and it will work and power up these two strips, and then I can use these two strips to test whatever light. But this is just a primer thing here. So as you can see, I already have one wire. It's a very small 28 AWG wire, very small, but it's perfect for 12-volt electric work. So you need soldering iron, and you can get these pretty cheap on Amazon. If you look on my link tree, there is it says tutorial for electricity, and if you look there should be a link to my shopping list for all the electrical supplies that you see here, including this wire, etc. So, and this silicone mat. So you have flux, which is right here, and this is it. It kind of corrodes the metal a little bit and creates a better surface for the solder to adhere to, but also it kind of tells the solder where to go. And so once you rough up the surface and you put some flux on there, it'll kind of suck the solder into the area that it needs to go. So you would lay your wire down, okay, or put it together with the thing that you're soldering it with. Put a drop of flux right there. All right, and now you don't have to pick this up. You can actually put your solder wire on there and heat up your wires until the solder melts into it. But with this tiny kind of work, your best option is to kind of pick up a little bit of solder from the wire here and then just drop it on here. Oh, I love the smell of solder. Reminds me of my dad. Okay, there you go. So, and then get one of these too. Some of them have them integrated in the stand. It just helps clean your nib. And you want to do that because the flux might actually corrode your tip. But some of these soldering irons come with a variety of tips, replaceable tips. So that's how you solder things. Real easy. You can use this skill to make wire fences and little beds and stuff like that if you can find copper. Yeah, there's a couple of brands that makes copper and stuff that you can work with to make fences and witches' walks and all sorts of cool little metalwork things. Just having this one skill is just it'll open avenues for you miniatures wise. So that's how you solder things. Now, batteries. Now you saw me working on this, and I used one of these. Now you can get these on Amazon, little packets of them. They are just little 2032, try and remember that, It's these little quarter-sized batteries. There are 2 of them in here, and I basically pilfered them from the candles that I got these lights from, and I'll show you that in a second. 2 of them in here. This one holds 2, and it's a fairly small little thing that you can hide discreetly. That's why I built the little crate. And there you go. You can barely see it. It's hidden under there. And if you notice, let me shake it back out. I soldered it, and I think you probably saw me doing it. Oh my gosh. There you go. I soldered it to the wires of the lights. Now, each light has a positive and negative, so I just put them in here and I connected the positive with the positive. Basically, I put them together, and the negative with the negative, and soldered them together. It actually held the lights in. And then I used the wire, and I attached the positive wire and the negative wire to from the battery pack to these 2 lights. So as you can see, there you go. And they're flickering. Now, flickering lights for 12 volt, you can get those at a variety of places. They are not cheap. I think I paid $6 or $7 a piece. But if you're going for 12 volt for hard wire, so you want to go to Lights for Models. This is not a promo or promotional or sponsored thing, but Lights for Models has incandescent, and they have bulb LEDs, they have regular lights, they have all sorts of stuff. But they have a really great flickering fire for 12 volt bulb. And this is where I got mine from. You have to kind of search through all of their products to find what you're looking for, and you will find they have lots of options. They even have little Christmas lights. They have everything. So recommend those guys if you're looking for 12 volt bulbs. They come with the little circuit, the little flickering circuit, flickering resistor on them already. So yeah, so you're paying quite a bit of money though for each bulb. So these are Lights for Models flickering fire units, and they're really quite nice. I have no idea how long they'll last, but they will be a pain in the ass to replace if and when I have to do that. I don't use them very much, so I can't imagine they're going to go out right away. Now, if you want to run something off of battery that is a flickering bulb, well, your magical source for those, super cheap. You can buy a 12-pack for next to nothing on Amazon. These are the flameless candle lights. I don't know what the life of these are, but for the amount that you use them, it really doesn't matter. But this is it. And you can, let's see, I can't see what I'm doing here. There you go. See how it flickers? So let's see. Let's get this thing to focus. There you go. Now, you get 2 resources in this one. I'm trying to work in a very small space because my desk is a disaster area right now. Yeah, so you want to pop this open, and you want to take this out. That's the first thing you're going to pilfer from your candle, because these are worth money. Go to the store and see how much they charge for these. You'd be surprised. Individually, but you get a 12-pack of them basically for next to nothing. So then you're going to take your thing and you're going to pull this out. Okay? And right at the top here, you've got your bulb. See, if you want to keep this little flame, you can pop that out too, probably. I think it's ugly. Pull this out, and bada bing, bada boom, you have a flickering bulb. Now, the long one is usually the negative, I think. Yeah, so if you put it on, you straddle the battery and it flickers, you'll know which side is which, right? As you can see, it's flickering. So, this is what I used. You can find a piece of wood, is what I do, or let me show you some examples. So, With this one, I just stuck the two little wires in a piece of wood, put them in there, and soldered the wires of my battery pack directly to the wire of the bulb. And let's see now, where is it? There you go. There you go. So when my stove is going, got the little ashy window. There you go. Independent of any type of power supply, it's on a battery, you still get the flickering candle, and it costs you next to nothing, right? So the only thing that's you need to buy are going to be the battery holders. Now, I can't believe I'm getting rust on this finally. So you just turn it off. And this is a single battery holder, very low profile. See? You can pop it up and replace the battery anytime you want. I don't want to pull it off, but yeah, this little thing pops up. There you go. And the battery pops out. See? And you can switch out the battery whenever you need to switch out the battery. There you go. And you've got fire and flames, right? These you can get maybe a package of 6 of them for $6 or $7, depending on where you get them on Amazon. They're just simple little 2032 battery holders, single battery holders. The one I used for the pumpkin is a double battery holder, and I'm using 2 bulbs. So I put them in here, and you can see there's 2 batteries in there. And this one, same thing, you get 5 or 6 of them, a package of them for a few bucks. And you can use steady LEDs that you've stolen from something, or you can use flickering LEDs that you've stolen from something. It doesn't matter. They work with 3 volts. And I showed you before how I soldered the wires to the corresponding pegs. There you go. And also, you can use these. You can get a variety pack for AA batteries. You can get them for multiple use, so, so that they can, this one would last a lot longer, and you can probably put more bulbs on it. I don't know what the limit is on bulbs. I don't really know how to do that math. My dad is no longer around to help me with that sort of stuff. He was an electrical engineer. And then you can do a single battery, AA battery. I would assume these last longer than the 2032s for just a couple of the little LED bulbs. But these work just as great as well. You can just look for battery holders, see which one works best for your application, and make sure that they are for 3-volt batteries. And you'll be fine. There you go. Oh, and then I wanted to show you how I hid some of the low-profile paddles here. It's kind of clumsy and ugly because I was just messing with it the first time. But I made this little fireplace, like a fireplace piece. I still need to put another log on here to hide the bulbs, but this is the battery pack, so I kind of used that as the back of the fireplace, and there you go. I still need to hide these bulbs more, but I just made like this really ugly little fire thing and threw some things on there, and I threw some beads in there to kind of create some reflection and some light, so they kind of look like embers. It's hard to tell on here, but the light does kind of filter through them, and I painted them black and scratched them up a little bit, so they kind of look like embers. But there you go. Put a bead on here. So this is a good way to hide your electrical pieces with a flickering fire. I don't know how long these last, but this is so easy to replace and fix, and it's cheap to replace and fix. So this is an option for you too. But yeah, so this is my primer. Look on my YouTube for a full primer on how to wire a dollhouse for 12 volt, at least the way I do it. And also look for my shopping list for these items here that will help you solder and make your wiring more permanent and lasting. And yeah, and then you can find that on Amazon, and it has everything that I use for the electricity, including the stuff that I use for battery, constructing battery-powered and things. But yeah, this is a great resource for flickering bulbs. And you can find LEDs also, like inside balloons and, these little cheap one-time use things. But these little LEDs last a pretty long time. So you can pretty much steal them from anywhere and use them for miniatures in a variety of ways, and learn how to wire using batteries to make them work best.